When Chinese J-16 fighter jets swooped low over the Taiwan Strait, locking their targeting radars onto U.S. and British warships without firing a single shot, the scene was both dramatic and unsettling. To the outside world, it looked like the prelude to a missile strike Western destroyers caught in the crosshairs of sleek Chinese jets performing aggressive dives, peeling away only at the last second. But nothing left the rails. No missile was fired and no direct hit was attempted. This was what defense analysts call a simulated kill run, a maneuver designed to show capability without crossing the threshold of combat. The question is, was this a clever psychological tactic meant to rattle Western nerves, or a dangerous gamble that could set off unintended consequences? Because when a fighter jet executes a mock strike against a warship, the difference between theater and escalation can be only a single mistaken radar reading away. And that is where our story begins. Welcome to ArmaForge, where we take you inside the strategies, technologies, and decision points that shape global defense. Today we ask, did Beijing's simulated kill runs reveal power or weakness? Let's break down what actually happened. Chinese People's Liberation Army Air Force J-16s, supported in some cases by older J-11s, and versatile J-10Cs, approached Western naval vessels, transiting the Taiwan Strait, among them U.S. Arleigh Burke-class destroyers and a British Type 45 frigate. These fighters didn't just fly by at a safe distance. Instead, they carried out mock strike profiles. That meant diving into attack angles, locking on with fire control radar, and simulating missile launches before breaking off at the last moment. For the crews aboard those ships, alarms would have sounded, radars would have lit up, and the sensation would have been indistinguishable from the first seconds of a real attack. So we have to ask, when Chinese jets lock onto Allied ships, even in simulation, is it just a rehearsal or is it a deliberate test of nerves designed to provoke hesitation? Why didn't China go further? Why choose simulated fire over actual fire? The reasoning lies in the dangerous balance Beijing seeks to maintain. If a missile had been launched, even by accident, the response from Washington or London would almost certainly have been swift and severe. But by simulating instead of firing, Beijing can have it both ways. It can claim domestically that its pilots confronted Western forces with strength and resolve, while officially dismissing the event as routine training. It's a carefully crafted performance, one that projects power without incurring the cost of escalation. But then comes the twist. Can a performance be just as risky as the real thing? Because the more often you stage simulated attacks, the higher the chance that one day someone misreads the situation and responds in kind. This is not without precedent. During the Cold War, Soviet jets regularly buzzed U.S. carriers, and American fighters shadowed Soviet bombers flying close to NATO airspace. These encounters were tense, sometimes dramatic, but often ended without shots fired. Yet every military historian remembers the near misses moments when a pilot misjudged distance, or when a radar operator read an aggressive maneuver as an attack. One misstep could have changed history. So the mini hook is clear. Is Beijing repeating an old Cold War playbook, or is it writing a new script altogether? Now, imagine the Pentagon's point of view. To American commanders, a radar lock-on by a Chinese J-16 is not something to be brushed off lightly. In fact, use rules of engagement often treat radar locks as hostile acts. So how should Washington respond? One option would be to increase patrols with stealthy F-35 Lightning II fighters, slipping undetected into contested airspace to remind Beijing that Western forces can counter any move before it's made. Another option is more visible deterrence. F-A-18E, Super Hornets flying combat air patrols directly above U.S. and Allied ships, sending a public message that intimidation will not go unanswered. But here lies the dilemma: would such responses calm the waters by deterring further harassment, or would they simply escalate the atmosphere, making it even easier for a future miscalculation to ignite something larger? And there's another layer to this confrontation: its symbolic weight. Beijing's goal is not simply to practice tactics. It is to shape perception. To its domestic audience, images of J-16s mock striking Western warships can be packaged as proof of Chinese strength. To Washington, the same image is a provocation, a reminder that Allied vessels are under constant pressure. This clash of narratives is almost as important as the clash of hardware. After all, military maneuvers are as much about the story they tell as the targets they threaten. Which raises a deeper question. In the long run, whose story carries more weight? The story of bold Chinese pilots testing their adversaries, or the story of Western resolve standing firm under pressure? Taiwan, meanwhile, has the most at stake in this drama. Every simulated kill run against Western vessels is closely watched in Taipei, because the island's leaders know that their own security depends on the credibility of U.S. commitments. If Beijing's maneuvers are tolerated, Taiwan may fear that the West is reluctant to confront Chinese aggression. But if Washington responds decisively by increasing patrols, accelerating arms sales, or reinforcing naval presence, Taiwan gains reassurance. In fact, the irony is that Beijing as psychological intimidation could end up speeding up the very process it fears most: the rapid flow of American weapons and technology to Taiwan's defense forces. Think mobile radar units, air defense systems, and coastal missile batteries arriving ahead of schedule, fortifying the island's defenses. So we have to ask, could it be that these simulated kill runs, meant to discourage U.S. involvement, actually provide the perfect excuse for Washington to deepen it? So where does this leave us? On one level, simulated kill runs look like a show of dominance. J-16 fighters executing aggressive maneuvers, Western destroyers under radar lock, headlines filled with words like confrontation and threat. But beneath that surface, the risks are significant. Every simulation carries the danger of miscalculation. Every attempt at psychological intimidation risks provoking a stronger counter-presence. And every display of power might backfire, strengthening Taiwan's defenses instead of weakening them. The performance that Beijing designed to show strength may, in the long run, expose its vulnerabilities. And that leads to the central question: are these simulated kill runs Beijing's clever tactic, or are they a strategic miscalculation? Because sometimes the threats you don't carry out speak louder than the ones you do. And now it's your turn. What do you think? Are simulated kill runs a smart way for China to flex its military muscle without firing a shot? Or are they a dangerous bluff that could spiral out of control? Share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear your perspective. If you found this breakdown insightful, hit that subscribe button and join us at ArmaForge, where we analyze the strategies shaping the world's most important defense decisions. And remember, everything we discuss here is purely hypothetical analysis, not a call for conflict. The world is complex enough. Our goal is simply to understand how choices, risks, and strategies interact on the global stage. Stay thoughtful, stay curious, and we'll see you in the next video.